Welcome to the Code and Hash channel. And today we are going to discuss about interfaces. Since everyone, the students have requested that the interfaces has to be explained more in detail. So we are going with the same thing, but with an explanation, two explanations also. Now here in the case of interfaces, generally interface is like a class. It is like a class, but the interface contains same to that of the class. It contains its methods and the variables. But the methods, what is along with the interface, it is nothing but the abstract method. Abstract method is just it contains the body, just it contains the method signature. That is the declaration of the methods will be available, but it doesn't contain any body of that message. Okay. And now here in the case of interfaces, what is going to happen? An interface specify what a class must to do and not how. How means how we are going to implement, and it will not give you how you have implemented. For example, I'll just tell you a simple example, that is, you might have seen certain cooking channels, and in that cooking channels you will be given with certain ingredients. Every participant will be given with the same ingredients, but they will be asked to do certain dishes. Okay, but the dishes of their own, we can see, though the ingredients are the same, the difference in the cooking style as well as the difference in the particular explanations, that is how they are making their food, that it will be different. Okay, it will be different. And so how it will be different means based upon their work, how they are doing, it differs. So this interfaces, it is nothing but you are going to define an interface as well as you are going to implement the interfaces. So what does this interfaces means? How it is going to act, how that method is going to act. It will not being disclosed inside the class. Only where you are implementing, you can find out where it is being used and how it is being used. Now, interfaces, it shows what a class must do and not how. It is the blueprint of the class. It is the blueprint of the class. Just it contains the bit, and how it is going to be worked out, it is not being done so. And if a class implements an interface and does not provide method bodies for all functions specified in the interface, that is, it does not give any method bodies. So how to write an interface? Interface followed by interface name, and if you want to declare any constants, if you're not going to change the value, then for any variable, then those constants can be declared inside it. As well as you can declare methods that are abstract and by default. Okay, and this is the syntax of writing an interfaces. Now, always I am again repeating, the abstract methods can also only be located inside the interfaces. It does not contain any method signature. Okay, it does not contain any body, only the method signature will be inside the thing. Okay, and next, the interface, what does it means that means all the methods in the interface are declared with an empty body and are public in all fields, because since you have created an abstract method, definitely you are going to implement those methods somewhere else in the program. So how you will be doing means that somewhere else will be done with the help of the keyword public only. Using the keyword public only, you can use that method anywhere else in the program. Okay, and either you have to give it in the form of public, and you can include static and final by default. So a class that implements an interface must implement all the methods declared in the interface. In a method, whatever the method, it is being taken up, it is being available in the interface, you will have to implement all the methods. Just an abstract implementation are at least needed. So how to implement this interfaces? For inheritance, you will be using the keyword extend. Similarly, here in the interfaces, you will be using the implements keyword. So why do we use interfaces? It is used to achieve total abstraction. If you want to apply the abstraction, the OOPS concept into your field, then you can take up this total abstraction with the help of the interfaces. And if it is also used to achieve loose coupling. This coupling is nothing but the concept behind the software engineering, how integrated your modules are. So based upon that, you can take up this loose coupling. If you want to achieve, you can take up this interface concept. And why we have to use these interfaces when we have abstract classes? Now see to this program, that is interface test 1. We have point void printf. This is a method what we have created inside the interface, and this is the declaration of the interface what we have done. And then we have class main. I have created a class that is going to implement this interface. Now I have given an abstract method print over here inside the interface, but I am going to state how this method is going to work only in the implementation part. This is the declaration part, and here it is the implementation part where you are going to declare these things. So how you are going to declare system.out.println of the name, how, what you are going to do, all the operations, all the thing, body of the statement, body of this method can be defined inside the implementation part. So I have implemented here inside the class main, and here public void static main. As usual, I'm going to create an object for this class main object.printf. Now I am going to call this method. This method, obviously it is the method of the interface class, and this obviously the method of the interface test, and the method is an abstract method which is being implemented inside the main class. It is implemented inside another class. Interface method implemented inside another class, and it is called inside another class. Now it is being printed over here. And this is how I am printing. have done this. So interface test 1 void printf class main implements test 1. This is simply I have done and executed the thing in a online compiler, and I get an input output as the same thing. So what's the difference between classes and interfaces? Classes and interfaces, both are similar. They have the attributes, they have the attributes. They also have the methods, they also have the methods. So what kind of differences we can feel is there is a difference between classes and interfaces. Now when you take the attributes, certain parameters to be noted by things, attributes, methods, and their access specifier, and how you can implement this thing, and based upon that they have differentiated the classes and interfaces. So how it is being differentiated means a class, it describes the attributes and the behavior of an object, but in the case of an interface it contains the behaviors that a class implements. Okay, it defines the behavior of the object, it defines the behavior of a class. Okay, and here it may contain abstract methods or concrete method, but here in the case of interfaces it can contain only the abstract methods. And here the members of a class can be public, private, protected, or default. Okay, it can contain the methods as public, private, protected, or default, but all the members of an interface has to be public because it will be implemented in different classes. Only if the access specifier is public, it can be accessed by the other classes that can be implemented. And here the keyword used to create a class is class. Here the keyword is interface. This all you know. And the class can be instantiated, that is object of a class can be created, but in an interface it cannot be instantiated. The objects cannot be created for an interface. And classes does not support multiple inheritance. Here interface are used to create the multiple inheritance, are used to support this multiple inheritance. It can be inherit another class. It also cannot inherit a class, but it can inherit an interface. And in a class it can be inherited by another class using the keyword extends. But in the case of interfaces, it can be inherited by a class by using the keyword implements, and it can be inherited by an interface using the keyword extends. Okay. Now If you want to extend another interface, then you can use extends keyword. But if you want to inherit an interface along with a class, then you have to use the keyword implements. It can contain constructor. A class can contain any number of constructors, but constructors are not allowed inside the interfaces. And the variables in a class can be static, final, or neither. Here all the variables has to be static, that is only constant variables can be declared inside an interfaces. These are the differences between the class and the interfaces. To summarize, you have some 9 points over here. If you are asked, you can obviously you can write these differences between the classes and the interfaces. And next, going to the interfaces, we have seen how we can write an interface, that is interface name followed by the method, abstract method. Now we have the second step of implementing the interfaces, that is how you can implement the interfaces here. So like classes, the interface can also extend another interfaces. So how you can take up means this interface can be a sub interfaces from other interfaces. So how you are going to take up this interfaces, it will be taking up the extends keyword. It will be taking up the extends keyword. That is, if you want to extend one interface from another interface, then you can take up the extends keyword. Likewise, what you do with the classes. Likewise, what you do with the classes, you can do it. So interface name, extends interface. Okay, interface name, extends interface. This is what we have done. Here, these are simple examples of doing an interfaces. That is class B, it extends class A. Okay, class B, it extends class A. This is what the inheritance what you have given here. Similarly, if you want to implement an interface inheritance in interfaces, then you can do as interface B extends interface A. Also, you can have multiple level of interface inheritance also. That is multi-level of extension is being allowed in an interface. That is interface C extends interface B extends A. But since you can have multiple inheritance, you can have achieve multiple inheritance with Java with the help of the interface concept, then you can take up interface B, interface A, and interface C. Now interface C is going to extend these two classes, that is A and B. This comes under a part of multiple inheritance. Now taking up this program, interface A, it contains an abstract method function A, and interface B, which is going to extend this interface A, which contains an abstract method function B. So I have declared here two interfaces, A and B, where B is the child interface of parent interface A. Now class C, it implements B. Here you have to say that parent and child is not referred, but you have to say it as object references. Here reference variables are being created inside this thing. So class C implements B. Class C implements B. Now I have created a class which is going to implement the interface B. But I haven't directly implemented interface A, but instead I have done implementation with the interface B, which is going to extend the interface A. Now public void function A of, this is the method which is available inside the interface A, and this is the method which is available inside interface B. So I'm going to implement these methods over here, and so public void function A of and public void function B of. This is what I have done. And now public class demo, public static void main C, I have created a class here, and this class where I am going to call these abstract methods of the interfaces. So for that, I have created an object for the class where I have implemented, this is the object, C object is equal to new C of. So object function A of, object dot function B of. Okay, and this is your program where I'm going to call the function A of, it comes over here, print this statement here, this is the output, this is function A, and again I'm calling this method object.func. By seeing this comes over here, sees this method, and this it is being printed over here. This is how you are going to call interface A and B and interface. You are going to link two or more interfaces into a single class. Now, this is how I have implemented that, and this is the example program what I have done in the result. And next, if you are going to take up a variable, we have seen the abstract methods. Now we are going to see about the abstract variables. Now, as I said earlier, in the case of interfaces, you can have only the abstract variables we can use. That's constant values you can use. So how to create public interface constant value? This is the interface name. And I have declared here two variables. That's all. I haven't implemented any method. But I have just taken only two variables here. There is no method inside this interfaces. Now public class add, I have created a class. That class is going to implement the constant values. That is the interface. This is the name of the interface. So int a is equal to x and b is equal to y. What happens? A becomes 20 and b becomes 30, because x holds the value of 20 and y holds the value of 30 now. So now your a and b holds the value of 20 and 30. And I have declared a method here. This is not an abstract method of an interface, but this is the method of the class what I have created. And inside this method, I have just printed that statement of A and B to resemble that I have used this values. And there is another method called sum. Here what I have done, s is equal to x plus y. I have enrolled these things that x is equal to x plus y. It adds the value of x and y, and this value is being summed up and printed over here. And here I have done sum, and the same way I have created a class with a subtraction value, and I have done here. See to that the answer will be getting. For add class, I have created a variable and I have called this method. Just I have not used any abstract method. Instead, I have used only the constant values over here. If you want, you please try this program and find out the result of this particular program. I have not noted down the output here. Just you can take it as an exercise and you can do it now. Thank you. And interface, why we are going for an interface? Why this is needed? Interface, what's the concept of interface? For example, in an industry, the architect level people create the interfaces and then it is given to the developer for writing classes by implementing the interfaces. Always, when you go into an industry, you will not be given with all the files to you. Just they will be creating the abstract, whatever the things needed, whatever the classes needed, what kind of methods it needed, what kind of return type needed. Everything will be created by the architect, software architect, and they will be providing that class, that abstract methods to the developer to write the implementation code. And that implementation code only will be written by all the developer and the best code will be chosen up. And second thing, using interfaces is to expose our project's API to some other project. If you want any interfaces, if you want to take up some other project code, then you can just take up the method and you can reuse it. And the programmers use interface to customize feature of software differently for different object. And it is used to achieve fully abstraction by using interface. We can achieve the functionality of the multiple inheritance. And this is why we are using this interfaces. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.